Hello and thank you for joining us for our second craft workshop of the day. My name is Claire, for anyone who doesn't know me, and I am one of the community fundraisers at the Friends of the Wisdom Hospice. I also do lots and lots of crafts, which is why I am doing the next section. So I am going to show you how to make two wreaths. We've got a pom-pom wreath and a ribbon wreath. So the pom-pom wreath is a really cute, we're going to make a bigger one of this, a really cute Christmas pudding wreath. So we've got brown wool, white wool, little red wools for the berries, and some little leaves, which you can't really see on here, but you'll be able to see on the bigger one. And then later on, I'm going to show you how to make a ribbon wreath. So it kind of hangs on your door. It's quite a messy look wreath, which I know isn't necessarily everybody's cup of tea. You can make it a bit tidier if you pick different fabrics, or if you arrange your fabrics in particular ways when you put them on, but you know, I can show you how to do that later. But what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the cute Christmas pudding wreath. So for this, you will need a couple of things. You will need a polystyrene ring to start with. They come in lots of different sizes and shapes, as you can see. Tiny one we've made here, bigger. They come in even bigger sizes than this, should you want one that big. So you'll need a wreath, which is lovely. You will need some wool. You'll need cream wool for the top of your Christmas pudding. You will need some brown wool for the bottom of your Christmas pudding, and you'll need some red wool for the 3 berries that you put on the top. So you don't necessarily, if you've got like half a ball of wool or something, you really don't need much. You don't need to go out, and if you can find a small amount, you don't need a whole ball for that. So that's really good. And then you're going to need some green felt, because what we do, we're going to cut out some because we're going to make a bigger one, we're going to cut out some leaves and then stick them on after. You will also need a glue gun and some glue sticks. I will get mine out in a minute when I'm ready to start that, and I'll show you how to use that as well. It can be a little bit scary, and they are reasonably easy to burn your fingers on. I do it quite regularly. Always forget that the glue is hot, even though I've used it many times before. But yeah, you just need to be a little bit aware of the glue, or the heat of the glue. So what you need to do to start with, before you even get to glue gun or even get to the felt making, cutting out the felt, is actually making your pom-poms. You need to make quite a lot of pom-poms. I think I worked out it's about 30 pom-poms per colour on the brown and the cream, and obviously only 3 for the red. So there are quite a few to do. Now there are lots of different ways you can make pom-poms. You can make them with 2 pieces of card, which doesn't cost you anything. You just go out and buy. I think this is an old Amazon packet. So you can just do it with card. If you're making small pom-poms, you can make them with a fork, and I'll show you how to do that as well. That's a nice and easy one. It doesn't cost you anything. All got forks, I hope. Or if you're like me and you make a lot of pom-poms, which I do, sorry, I need a very quick slurp of my tea. I'm going to have a quick slurp. Then there are a whole heap of different pom-pom makers that you can buy. Now they don't cost a lot of money. You can normally get them for about £5, and you get a couple of different sizes in your packet. And then you can make your pom-poms as big or as small as you like. This I'm going to show you is my favourite pom-pom maker. It's a bit sad. I have made hundreds, maybe 1,000 or so pom-poms with this little pom-pom maker. So it's a bit well used, but that's not a problem. Now this particular style come in 4 different sizes. So you've got a really big one, which is nice, a bit smaller, the one I use quite a lot, and then a smaller one. So this is quite a good brand. So that one's quite nice. They also come in, as I say, different companies make different brands. So you can get pom-pom makers like this that they hold together. They've got little white clips on them, and they clip in together. I'm trying to clip them clipped, and then you just wrap your wool around. Wrap your wool around these ones, and they come also in different sizes. I've got quite a few different sizes of these ones, and you can now buy them in different shapes. So this is a heart-shaped one, so it makes heart-shaped pom-poms. Should you want to make Valentine's Day pom-poms, you can make lovely bunting, or they come in tiny weeny ones, which I found the other day, which are really cute. And They make pom-poms which are really small, which are kind of this size, which is the size that I used for the demonstration pom-pom wreath. So yeah, as I say, lots of different pom-pom makers out there that you can use, or you can just use, as I say, a piece of cardboard, which is nice and easy. So if you're going to use your cardboard method, you need to cut 2 circles out which are the same diameter, and then you need to cut a little circle out in the middle as well. When you're ready to make your pom-pom, you need to get a piece of wool it's a bit difficult to show this one. You need to get a piece of wool that sits inside the 2 pieces of cardboard, so like so, and then you would put your other piece of cardboard on top. You would get your wool, and you would start to wrap it round, and that's just as simple. That's how you make your pom-poms. You just wrap the wool round whichever pom-pom maker you're using, so your piece of cardboard, your fork, or any of the pom-pom makers that I've shown you. The only thing you have to be slightly careful with if you use the cardboard method is the dangly bits you're going to use to tie later. So you need to kind of try and keep them out of the way, so you don't get them wrapped up in your pom-pom. So you would just carry on wrapping your pom-pom, and when you come to the end, you pull your 2 pieces up into the middle, tie it up very gently, and then cut through, and then tie again with another one. There are lots of YouTube videos you can watch if you want a bit more information about how to use this method. It's not one of my preferred methods. I always get the little bits of wool caught up and find that I've got wool everywhere, so I tend not to do that one, but you know, it's a nice easy way of doing it. If you want to use the fork method, you just grab your fork, trusty fork, you place a piece of wool, that's the word I was looking for, down in your fork, and then you start to wrap around. And again, you just keep wrapping until you are happy with the amount of wool you put on. So the amount of wool you put on will determine how big and fluffy your pom-pom is. And you keep wrapping, and you keep wrapping, and then when you are happy, you cut it off. She says, looking for a pair of scissors that she can't find. And now don't work. Pull your pom-pom through, tie your knot, and then slip it off, and you start to cut round the side of your pom-pom. I had to put it on the desk because I'm all fingers and thumbs today, so I put that on the desk. I've made a mess of this. You tie through, you pull it off, that's what you do. You pull off your pom-pom, you pull through your piece of wool that you'd had at the bottom, you then tie it together, and then you cut round and you make your pom-pom. Excuse me. So yeah, another easy way of making your pom-poms. But I'm going to go back to my normal trusty pom-pom maker. I will show you how to make a pom-pom with this pom-pom maker. Again, it's nice and easy. I keep saying that word. It is relatively easy to make these. And I will show you how to make one of these pom-poms, and then I will make lots of pom-poms, and then we can come back and talk about what our next stages are. So as I said, this is the one I use a lot. So it doesn't necessarily hold itself together anymore quite as well as it used to before. So you start off with the pom-pom maker in this position. So the bottom 2 sections are closed. You start with the top 2 sections. I kind of hold on to it quite tightly, as I say, because it's a little bit loose now because I've made quite a lot with this one. And then you wrap your wool around your side. And you just keep going. You kind of keep these 2 sides quite level, and you keep going and you keep going, and you talk amongst yourself for a minute. I should have put some music on, shouldn't I? We could have had a bit of Bublé in the background. Mind you, I probably would have had to pay royalties to Bublé to play Bublé in the background, even though it's playing in my room. Big fan of Bublé at Christmas. I know not everybody is. But I am. Now you can also wrap you can have two balls of wool on the go at the same time if you want. It makes it slightly quicker, and you can you have basically 2 bits of wool that you wrap at the same time, and I'll probably show you when I make some pom-poms in a minute for our wreath. In the next little bit of the video, I'll probably have 2 bits of wool going at the same time, just to make it a little bit quicker. So once you have decided you have enough wool on this side, you then take it through to the next side. So I'll just show you the bottom of it to start with. So what you want to do is have no wool on these sides, and kind of level, maybe a little bit of a dip in between, and then you know you've got enough wool on this side. You kind of take it up, you pull it through the little gap, you close it, and then you open up the other side and you start again. So your idea is that the piece of wool, I don't know whether you can see that very well, goes through the centre section, but again isn't on this bit here. And then you just keep wrapping and wrapping. It's very nice to do watching television, this one is. It's a very very relaxing craft to do. I have to admit, I made a lot of pom-pom wreaths of all different colours for friends and family during the first lockdown, and I found it very relaxing. It kind of kept me a little bit sane, but if you're not a crafty person, then it probably might not keep you sane, as sane as I did. But then again, I might not be sane. I'm sitting here talking to a camera about pom-poms, so who knows. Right, so I have nearly finished this one. I am say I have finished now. So when I've decided I've finished, I still have my piece of wool which I've been wrapping my pom-pom with. I cut it, hang on to that piece of wool, and then I cut through the centre. There's a groove down the centre. I'll show you with this one very quickly. There's a groove down the centre of your pom-pom maker, and this is what you're going to cut down. So it's, I find it easier to do it with a little pair of scissors because the gap's not that big, but you know, I'm sure you can, if you're using larger scissors, you can get the scissors in the gap. It's not a problem. So you cut it all, so your pom-pom maker now looks like this. You pick up your piece of wool, you wrap it around your pom-pom maker, and it goes into the little, there's a little sort of gully that it goes into, and you tie yourself a knot to keep it. I tie 3 knots just to keep it all nice and secure. You then cut your wool, open up your pom-pom maker. I've got a tiny little bit of wool core, but that's fine. Open up your pom-pom maker. Definitely all fingers and thumbs today. Pull it apart. Some newer ones you have to pull apart. My one, it comes apart on itself. You roll it around a little bit and there's your pom-pom. So depending on what you're doing with it, if you, for this demonstration, what we'll do, we will chop this little piece off here. But if you're making pom-poms to go on woolly hats or something like that, you would then use this little bit of wool left over so you can sew it onto your hat. If you're making pom-pom wreaths, you can then use this to sew onto whatever you're using, your piece of ribbon or whatever you're using to make the swag on your I've forgotten what they're called. What did I just say? To hang them up on. I've forgotten completely what I'm saying. Anyway, so for this purpose, I'm going to cut this little piece off. You can also, if you want to, if you look at your pom-pom and you say, oh, actually, this is a little bit not quite as neat as I wanted, you can give it a little haircut. So that's what we're doing here. And that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on and make some more pom-poms, and then when I'm ready to stick it on, I'll come back and show it to you. Hi, right, so I'm back. Sorry about my little interloper while I was making pom-poms, but she likes to join in. So now I'm just going to show you the next section and what you need for this. While I'm just waiting for my glue gun to heat up, which is over here, I will show you how to get started putting our pom-poms on. So we've got our polystyrene wreath. I'm not sure if you can see very well. I'll just hold up to the camera. I popped some pins in, 2 on either side, so I can mark basically the centre line on my wreath. So when I put my pom-poms on later, this one didn't quite go so well. You've got the distinct brown at the bottom and cream at the top, which makes it a Christmas pudding. I've also cut out my 2 little holly leaves out of the green felt that I was mentioning earlier, and they will go on. So I've got my cream pom-poms, my brown pom-poms, and my few red ones that sit in the middle. We're going to start. So I'm going to start with the brown at the bottom first, and excuse me, I'm just going to stick my pom-poms on. So I don't know if anybody's used a glue gun before, but as I say, they are quite hot, so you need to be a little bit careful with them. You have your glue gun here, so you can see mine's a little bit well used. I use it quite a lot, so it's got a bit of wool around it. And you also need some extra glue sticks. They will take quite a lot of glue sticks. And this is what you put in the back of your glue gun for the hot glue to come out. So this is basically the glue that the little machine, the little gun then heats up for you. So as I say, I'm going to start with my brown, and I'm going to show you how to start this. So what you do is you pick up your first pom-pom, and you've got your glue gun, and what I do is I find it's easier to put the glue on the polystyrene ring than it is to put it on the pom-pom itself. So I'll just go ahead and stick the first one on. I'm hoping my glue gun is warm enough. So you want to put a dollop of glue on the polystyrene ring. Again, not 100% sure if you can see it, but it's not a particularly big dollop. It's maybe like a 1p piece size of glue. You put that on, and then you get your pom-pom and you basically just stick it on. So you hold it on for a couple of seconds, and then that will make the glue stick, and then your pom-pom is now attached. And what you'll then do is just carry on. So you'll see me moving the wreath around itself just to get to better angles. You'll get little dangly bits of glue, but you can pick those off after, that's not a problem. And you just carry on. So what I'm going to do is, now those first 2 are stuck, is I'm just going to get on and do the rest of them, and I'll show you what it looks like. We have it, we're all done. So here is our lovely Christmas pudding wreath. Now I like mine really fluffy, which is why I put the extra layer of pom-poms in the middle, but you don't need to, it's completely up to you. You can make it however you want to. I would now you would normally put something on the back so you can hang it, maybe a piece of ribbon or another piece of wool or something, just so you can hang it. I normally have the larger of the 2 lovely ones on my front door, but this year I think it might be moved over and Christmas pudding might go on because it's really cute and I feel I should use it now I've made it. So we've done that one now. So what we're going to move on to now is doing the ribbon wreath. So I've got 2 ribbon wreaths. This is the larger of the ribbon wreaths, but they look really cute in both sizes. So to make these, what you need is a few different things this time. So we don't need the glue gun, we're all done with the glue gun. I managed not to burn myself, that's probably the first time ever. I did really well on that video. But what you need this time are wire wreaths. Now they come in different sizes. I think there's a bigger one to this, but I've got these 2 sizes. So today I'm going to show you how I'm just going to use the smaller one just for ease and quickness. They are nice and easy. In fact, they're probably easier than the pom-pom ones because you don't have to have a glue gun, you don't have to have pom-pom makers. All you have to have is fabric cut up into little pieces or little ribbons should you want to make it a bit sparkly, and you just tie it on. So you're looking for little strips of fabric, kind of about 6 inches long. They can be by sort of I was going to say a metre, an inch, or they can be tinier. I think I've got some 1/2 inch ones here. And what you do is you just get all your fabric ready. Now this is where I said you can be more organised and you can make a wreath look slightly less rustic. It's a bit of a rustic look, this one. If you want it to be a bit more tidy, you would organise your ribbons into, so mine is just a big pile here, and when I come to do the time-lapse video again in a minute, I'll just show you. I've got a big pile of fabric on my worktop, and I'm just going to pick it up randomly and attach them. If you want it to look more, less rustic, you could, for example, do the inside ring one colour, the outside ring a different colour. You could make sure you definitely alternate, or you could have maybe if you wanted to do not a Christmas pudding one, but well, you could do, but you could have a certain colour at the top and a different colour at the bottom. So it really depends on how you want your little ring to look as to how you put your fabric on. But as I say, you just get a whole heap of little bits of fabric. You obviously need to spend time cutting the fabric up before you get onto this. I've also got some lovely ribbon that I use just to make it a bit sparkly, which is quite nice. I probably need to cut a little bit more of that up, so I'll probably get that cut up before I start. And then I'll come back in a couple of minutes and I'll show you what to do. So as you can see, I've got a lovely pile of fabric and I've got a lovely pile of ribbon. I've kind of separated them out, but that's about the only separation I'm doing. So what I'm going to show you how to start is you grab your first piece of fabric, and I'm going to start on the inside, oh, can't pick it up, the inside of the two rings, and you literally just tie your fabric in a knot. So you tie it in a reasonably tight knot, and what you want to do is you push it as far as you can. Oh, won't come out now. Push it as far as you can along to the little dividers at here, and then you pick up the next piece of fabric. So this is where I was saying you can be quite when you can design it in a particular way. So you can maybe always pick up green fabric at the top, always pick up red fabric, and you can put them in particular orders. And so basically what you do is you just keep going. You grab the next piece and you loop it through. It's slightly difficult, and more difficult with this ribbon because it's a bit more a solid ribbon than the fabric. But the idea is you keep tying, and every time you tie something you push it up to the ones that you've already popped in, and you just keep going. So yeah, and you keep going and you keep going, and once you've done all the inside ring, you then start on the outside ring. So that's what they look like to start with. So what I'll do is I'll just keep going and I'll show you how I get on. Right, so as you can see, the inside ring is now finished. So we just move on to the outside ring, exactly the same way. You just need to push your fabric that you've already tied on slightly out of the way so you can get to the outer ring. I find it sometimes a little easier to do it from the outside in. Kind of depends how it works for you. Just keep moving it around so you can get going. But yeah, you just start again. So you can see I've started on the outer ring, I've pushed it to the side, and now I'll just keep going again. Right, there it is finished. It's all lovely. I'm sorry I had a few problems with my time-lapse videos of this one being made. Apparently when my phone rings, it stops the time-lapse video, and I didn't realise. So thank you, Pat from Knit Stitch and Natter, who called for a chat. But I'll pick up your voicemail message in a minute and find out what you said. But I have added a little bow on the bottom, not sure if you can see it very well, and I would then add a piece of ribbon or a piece of string or something that I can hang it from my door. So thank you very much for joining me while I made this, and also while I made the lovely Christmas Pud one. I'm going to have to say I think this is my favourite. It's my first year of making this one, and I'm definitely a pom-pom lady this year. I've made a lot of pom-poms for different people, so that's really nice. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed Beth's card demonstration earlier on this morning. It's been lovely to spend half an hour or so with you and go through some craft stuff. I enjoy making lots of things, so this is wonderful. So hopefully this time next year, or even in the summer, we're hoping that we'll be able to get our fairs back live like they are normally, and we can join you there. And you never know, maybe we'll carry on with our craft demonstrations there. I don't know if you saw in the back in the screen somewhere earlier, I had a little sign up for a text donate. We've got 2 text donate numbers, so if you would like to donate £5 or £10, just text FAIR to both of those numbers, either of those numbers, sorry, and your donation comes straight through to us, which is really lovely. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, bye.